And we're back. It's Trainer Zach here with Gym Leader Tom for another deep dive review video. This time, it's Pokemon Let's Go. You keep watching them, we'll keep making them. That's the deal. Tom, sorry to start with such a deep question, but did you go Pikachu or Eevee?
Ugh. So I want to say that I'm experimental and went for Eevee because I'm cool and challenging things, but I actually just got to the event late and got Eevee rather than Pikachu.
It's all that was left.
It's all that was left.
Massive mountain of Eevees just diving in. Take one.
Just gone. But actually, I was surprised how different it felt because you think on paper Pikachu's got the better moveset. Interestingly, in this game as well, the partner Pokemons refuse to evolve, like in the anime. Yeah.
At all in the game?
No, you can, but just your partner Pokemon will not,
okay,
will not
sure,
be that.
Sure,
so you can, catch a separate Eevee and evolve them up. But
who wants? You already didn't want one Eevee. Who wants two?
Hey, well, who knows? But you actually get really cool custom moves I've never seen before, which have the worst names ever, like Bouncy Bubble, and Glitzy Glow.
Do you mind demonstrating Bouncy Bubble for us now, just so we can all?
I can't. I literally need to bounce up and down. But it's too sweaty in here. But yeah, they're really good. They're like, your Eevee becomes incredibly powerful, or your Pikachu. And
cool.
We'll go into how soon.
So, in a year that is bursting at the seams with reboots, we're talking God of War, Spider-Man, maybe even Dragon Ball FighterZ, maybe. How does this compare as a reboot?
I mean, God of War, Spider-Man especially, the big, bold AAA games. This, as you probably know from the trailer, is quite a different type of game for quite a different type of audience. I played this initially back in E3. When I first played it, I was like, oh my god, it's HD, it's everything I've wanted. And then I started playing it and we're like, but it's really watered down, and now I'm kind of conflicted and a bit bummed out. But the more I played it, the more I realised it's actually really fun. It's still an RPG, but all the elements that make the grind annoying have been removed, and it kind of focuses more on like the best part of Pokemon, which is the Pokemon themselves and these captivating creatures. It's more like an anime.
But I mean, tell me if I'm wrong here. But the grind is the game.
Yeah.
That's the game. Yeah. That's what Pokemon is. That's why it's so magic.
Yeah.
It's like for the same reason in like a game like World of Warcraft, they take away the grind to give people quality of life changes, and it's like, oh, there's nothing left. You're just left walking around a barren game. Skeleton.
Anyway, I can rephrase that is they've taken away the grindiest parts of the grind, but there's still grind.
Okay. Can we have that on screen as a quote?
Can we get a Shoreditch Grind sponsorship behind us?
Aside from that, what other differences are there from previous titles?
Okay, so this is going to be a long one. You've played, let's reverse this. First of all, what Pokemon games have you played? What was the last game you played?
Oh my god, the last one I played was probably an illegal ROM of Pokemon Yellow on a floppy disk in my neighbour's house.
Wow, that was pretty recent then, I guess, a few months back. Yeah.
He's 35 now.
So this is a remake of Pokemon Yellow, obviously. So the main difference is, well, there's loads. The key difference is how you catch Pokemon. Before, it would always be in a battle format. You'd walk through the grass, diddly 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 diddly, it would come through, the Pokemon would be there, you'd weaken it, and then you'd catch it once its health was low.
Yes.
Now there's no battle involved at all, and there's no random Pokemon.
Is that true?
Yeah, it's true.
What?
So what will happen is
What is the game? What's the game? They've taken out the grind, they've taken out the Pokemon battles, they've taken out catching Pokemon. This is the Pokemon gallery where you just get to look at them.
Eevee for 23 hours is great.
Where can I get my copy?
No, so what happens is you're walking along this kind of amazingly realised HD world, and you can see all the Pokemon before you. So you can see them in the grass, and you can choose to engage with them or not. And how you,
they're walking around like what? They're real size?
Yeah, everything's to scale, and that's an amazing thing. So an Onyx will be huge.
You can see the Onyx from the next town along.
Yeah.
Wow.
And you have any Pokemon in your party can follow you outside of the ball. So I just kept picking Magikarp. It's amazing to just flop around happily, and then it would slowly interact with things. It would get excited if it sees a fountain and stuff like that, which is just really awesome.
So every Pokemon in the game is is visible.
Yeah, it seems like some of the bigger water ones only like it when you surf on them or ride them. But there's I really don't want to spoil this because for me half of the fun has been the animations. But one I will spoil for you. Sorry. But Snorlax is amazing. So when Snorlax is following you, it's so big and obviously so cuddly that what you have is your trainer is holding on to one part of the fluff of his chest, and either your Pikachu's holding onto the other, he just like carries you around.
Oh, that's nice. Nice touch.
But anyway, sorry, this is a bit of a tangent. Back to the wild Pokemon. So, like in Pokemon GO, you will see them on the map, and then you will engage in just a motion-controlled catching game. So you will feed them berries like Pokemon GO, and then you can either use the Pokeball controller, the Joy-Con, or the gyroscope to aim and catch.
Why did they change it?
So this is exactly what I thought, and I was really bummed out when I first played it. I was like, oh, it's watered down the experience. It's not the Pokemon Yellow I wanted. But it's actually really good because another thing, when you catch a Pokemon, you get XP for your party Pokemon. So that sounds even more watered down, right? But there's another weird meta game that keeps it fresh. So in each area, the frequency and quality of the Pokemon that you see depends on your catch combo. So if there's a bunch of Rattatas
I should
in
be
one
taking
area,
notes here. Okay, wait. Go back to berries.
Very good. No. So if you catch like loads of Rattatas, you get a catch combo, so 2-3 times. And the more you do that, the rarer Pokemon appear. So you get a tiny version of one Pokemon, a huge, and then the rare Pokemon in the areas will start to appear. So it's another weird meta game. So as well as you're battling all the trainers, which there's still loads of, and the battling's fun, you get quite into doing that, and it doesn't feel like you're just constantly going fight, potion. So it mixes it up.
God, I knew that this game was different, obviously, because it's a reboot. Actually, I'm that kind of person I hate. I'm asking for a reboot and a refresh of the franchise, just like everyone's been asking for. They go, what? Why am I going to buy the same game? They've given a new game, and I've gone, but why isn't it the same?
Yeah.
I'm going to take your word for it that all these new systems, even though they sound totally mad and totally new to me, they do come together for a fun experience.
As I said, I was exactly that. I mean, I think because I can put this in my review, which you should read, check out, plug. But for so much of us, I mean, I grew up in the 90s, it's kind of like Kanto is like a home away from home. And I spent so many times on holidays just kind of hunched over my little Game Boy or like, running down and binging the anime on Saturday mornings. That it's such a special hallowed place. You're kind of like, don't fuck my childhood, Nintendo. But like,
we should sell those t-shirts.
Yeah, but they've realised that the anime is what makes it really cool, and like it feels like a lived-in Pokemon world, every aspect of it, and that's what makes the catching work.
Okay.
And from the third gym onwards, the difficulty in battling actually ramps up. I started getting my ass handed to me.
Oh, really? Okay.
Which was really nice because I was just blitzing through it.
If you don't mind, speaking of the difficulty, let's imagine that my face is insultingly easy and your face is crushingly hard. Can you show me with your hand where the difficulty lies in this game?
It's not helpful, is it?
It was a long setup to a very short answer, somewhere in the middle. Any easier than that, I'd have had a finger in my mouth.
I think there's so we talked about grind. This is all going to sound so confusing. I'm going to try and make it make sense.
Whereas my analogy was crystal clear.
So yeah, so as I said, once you progress past the third gym, you can suddenly find that trainers and gym leaders are quite higher level than you. But it depends how you grind. So for me, I was also playing it quite quickly to review, but I quite like just doing the main things I wanted to do and leveling up my certain party, like making Magikarp or Gyarados, my own little meta games that I just really enjoyed doing. But I wasn't that bothered about catching all the Pokemon I saw. Like I'd catch the new ones, I'd do the occasional catch combo to get a rare one. But if I sat there catching every Pokemon that I saw, I'd get a ton of XP. So I would have leveled up way harder. So you can grind in different ways. You can keep seeking out trainers. Oh, another thing. With each area there's a trainer, there's a new... Oh, I have to look this up. I've forgotten the exact name, but there's a special trainer that appears. They're all optional, but he goes, oh, are you ready to be tested for this area? And he's like the strongest one. So that makes it a little more challenging as well.
Okay, cool. So basically they're catered to all sorts of different playing levels and levels of expertise. My little nephew could play it, and my games editor could play it. Right?
Overgrown baby could play it. Overgrown nephew could play it.
Very quickly, you're being rewarded for catching all these Pokemon, right? What are you doing with this surplus of Rattatats that you've got? Have you got a big bucket full of rats? What are you doing with them?
That's a really good question. So that's how it ties into Pokemon Go. So say you've got, say you're doing this Rattata combo, you're like, I want to find the rare, Pokemon here, or I just really like Rattata or whatever. Each Pokemon, as well as having a normal level, like level 21 or whatever, has a CP level, like in Pokemon Go. And once you've got a bunch, you can choose press menu, and your box is now in the menu, which is great. Don't have to go to a PC, so you can go straight.
I quite liked going to a PC.
Did you?
Do you know what I mean? I did quite like you had to go like.
Mate, you think you do, but you don't miss it. Honestly, it's
okay,
a ball
sure.
ache.
Sorry, I'm still reeling from you saying this was a good question. It's the first compliment you've ever given me. I don't know how to take it.
Sorry, and then what you do is you can select them all and then send to Professor Oak. So I don't know if you remember in the previous games you had vitamin like items like zinc, iron that would increase individual stats. Yes, speed. That would increase speed, attack, whatever. Now when you transfer, say, those Rattatas, you're going to get a bunch of things called candies, like Mighty Candy, Health Candy, Quick Candy. And you can give these to your individual Pokemon to help boost their stats, their IVs.
Okay, sure.
And your main Pokemon, either Eevee or Pikachu, get special candies. Eevee candies or Pikachu candies, which means it's a clever incentive for you to keep around a Pokemon you wouldn't normally because they're really strong.
How do you get the Pikachu candies?
So these are just handed out to you sometimes by certain trainers and you beat them or you find them around the world, just like, the little Pokeball items as you would. Sure.
They're still around, are they?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Good.
And you can also, as well as those specific ones, which raise every single stat for that Pokemon, you can still give the normal ones to your main Pokemon, if that makes sense. So although it seems on the surface really disappointing that the catching mechanics are simple, it's taken the weird addictive meta side of Pokemon GO and applied that to a traditional Pokemon RPG. And so it really works, as well as like the main core thing of I want to battle and I just want to grind that way. You can be in control of which Pokemon you actually want to keep and invest in, and that's part of the candy and catching system. So. And
then the sprinkles on top, I guess, of the presentation and the emotive Pokemon that you see running around the world. And hey, sounds like a good game. Sounds like a 4 out of 5 stars, am I wrong?
Correct.
Okay, awesome. I've got a couple more questions. I know we've sort of lightly touched on this, but let's say I'm a fan of Pokemon GO. I'm not, but we can all imagine that I am. What other aspects of the game am I going to enjoy?
So what I liked about this is, again, it's another thing I was worried about. My concern was that you could, say you've been playing Pokemon GO for a year, you've got an awesome team, you could just transfer them into the game, and again, it would be stupidly easy, right?
Sure.
They've handled this well because, one, you can't transfer anything until you get to Fushia City, I don't know how you pronounce it. Wiki guys, help me out here. But, which is where either the 5th or 6th gym is, so it's fairly far through the game.
Sure.
And secondly, once you transfer Pokemon over through the Pokemon GO park, they come in level 1. So
okay.
you can
their playing field is leveled.
Yeah,
for
I mean,
everyone.
you can still choose with the appraisal and CP system. If you want to get a really strong Pokemon, you can bring them over, but you'd have to XP them up.
Okay, sure. Nice. So no one's just straight out of the bat overpowered.
Yeah, not like a level 100 Mew.
Level Which generation are we on here, dude?
Generation 8. They just gave up with names. It's just Moo.
No, they did though, didn't they?
Yeah.
They actually did. For my next incredibly well-researched question, I've written down the word co-op.
Yes. Well, I'm glad you did. Because that's in the game. Because in our last video, we discussed co-op and kind of imagining what it would be as if we were kind of bringing in our own trainer to someone else's world. It's not like that. You get kind of a faceless partner who's just a generic kind of trainer. And what happens is they can help you catching a difficult Pokemon, which means you get a 2-time bonus if you get perfectly in sync throw. Which, if you're...
Sounds tacked on to me, baby. My tacked on senses are tingling.
Oh, it totally is. But it's like if your little brother's just sitting there, just going, where, or,
waving his hand up and down. You might as well just put a Joy-Con in there.
I mean, I definitely think some people are going to be speedrunning it, put it in a...
ski poles.
Grip. Put it in the Joy-Con grip and do that to get the sync throw and double points. That's going to be a really easy way to level up if you want to do that.
Yeah. Or sellotape one to the back of your head.
Yes.
And you can just sit on the burst and speed. Sweating after that.
So as I was saying, so you can have your mate, whoever, loved one, pet, just helping you with catching, or if you're in a battle that's particularly difficult, they'll come in and use the second Pokemon in your party. But yeah, ultimately, as you said, it is a bit tacked on.
Yes.
The player 1 controls where you go in the world. The second player just follows and teleports to them. But it's if someone wants to help out with catching or do a bit of battling,
why not?
Yeah. It's not going to make or break the game, but it's there for someone.
So we're a little light on the co-op. How about the online experience?
So online is, because it's the Switch now, it's not just online, it's also local wireless. So
okay, cool.
It was quite cool. I was at a review event for this and I was just sitting there and just just instantly.
Everyone with their Pikachus.
Yeah, I'm
You
just
sat
sitting there with
with
my
your
Eevee
Eevee.
and I'll show them. And yeah, you can just have a little room. You can have battles. You can set rules. You can have trading.
What sort of rules?
So you can have. It can be under level 50 or over level 50, and it will level them down. You can set like one person when you have 2 Pokemon, one have 6, whatever. You can do that. So you can do little tournaments on it, which is quite cool.
What other kinds of rules?
No legendary Pokemon, for example.
Oh, cool. That's nice. It's got like a bit of an arcadey
Yeah.
thing going on. Nice.
And then, but yeah, it's very basic. It's kind of like just you remember in the Game Boy games with the link cable kind of battle and trading. It's like that, but it works online, really.
But the cable's in the cloud now. Yeah, cool. That sounds. I mean, that was the best bit of the games from what I remember.
Yeah, definitely.
15 years ago. Now, Tom, is that a Pokeball in your pocket? Are you pleased to see me?
I mean, I actually am very pleased to see you, but this is a Pokeball.
Both.
Pocket. Yeah, exactly.
How was that? How was it? How does that work?
I mean, it is totally a gimmick, if we're honest, but it's quite a good one. So what I was impressed is this here is actually an analog stick.
Do you mind if I hold it?
Yeah, no, please do.
Wow. It's got a wrist strap, just like a real Pokeball doesn't. That's cool. It feels nice, you know. It's
quite
small,
hefty,
grippy,
isn't it?
quite hefty.
Yeah.
What is that battery inside it?
So yeah, you can charge it at the back. It's just like a USB-C connection, like everything else on Switch.
Nice, cool.
But what's quite nice about it is it makes you realise how few buttons you need to play it, because everything is now mapped with like the L3, so you can just move around, select. And
Oh, it lights up.
yeah, and yes, it lights up.
Rumble?
Yeah, it rumbles. Colour even makes a sound. The sound of the Pokemon's
it ring your mum?
cry. No, it doesn't. Unfortunately, I really wanted a tea. I was. Yeah, and there's a couple of annoying gestures. So, for example, when you go to the main menu and you want to swap between your party and the box, shake it twice, which
That's
you get
confusing.
used to. You get used to it.
Okay, sure.
I feel like they could be clearer on what and how you have to, what the extra motions and buttons are to do things, because it doesn't really tell you. But when you throw a Pokeball and it starts like bouncing and lighting up with you and it makes the noise and it's cool, it is pretty cool.
Be honest.
Yeah.
Because I know that often in front of a camera you try and impress people for some reason. But did you
I just want your affection and admiration, Zach, except I'm never going to get it now.
Did you find yourself using this totally on your own, outside of the reviewer mode? Did you find yourself using the Pokeball and enjoying your game experience with it?
I'd say about 50-50. There were times I liked it. It's cool just to do that. It makes it. I mean, I was reviewing Red Dead before, which was a very intense experience.
That's difficult on that, I imagine.
Yes.
God,
Wait for the
as you
speed
whistle the
runs and
horse, you
that.
shake it 3 times.
You've got to lick it. But it's quite nice though, because if say while I was reviewing it, I was taking notes, I could still do that, or you can text people and do it. It's a very chill type of game. Like if you were holding a baby or a Twinkle Toes,
I'd just say put the game down for a minute. Just focus on the kid.
I mean, you could, but it's really handy for that. I mean, I'd say ultimately the best experience is playing with more buttons, because it's just better to have more buttons. But
There's only one button in the game though. I sort of understand why they've done this.
Yeah.
Also, it very cleverly almost gets them out of that, because that's not a criticism now that you can level against the game. It's just you still move around and press one button where you're not utilising the rest of what it has to offer. Yeah, but we've got a cool little rubber thing for you to buy.
But there are some things like that. So again, I think personally I wouldn't buy this for me, because I'm not even a massive Pokemon Go player. But if you're a massive Pokemon Go player, this also works with that, much like the Pokeball Plus accessory did. So if you're out and about, this Bluetooth to your phone, when Pokemon walk by, it would
Oh,
and it
it
will decide if it
senses
catches you for it. It will do like
that's
a random
cool.
thing. So that's quite good if you're doing that, and then you can easily transfer them back and forth between that.
It sounds like it's a better accessory for Pokemon Go than Pokemon Let's Go.
So essentially, if you play Pokemon Go, don't have the Poké Plus, you think this is kind of cool, and this comes with the Mew as well, and you want a free Mew, then
Go for it.
It's worth buying. For most other people, I'd say you don't need it, but it's kind of cool. Oh, one thing talking about controls.
Yeah.
What I find really weird is that this is a game that has a Pokeball controller. It has Joy-Con.
Yeah.
It has other Joy-Con, gyroscope controls, like a ton of different options. But frustratingly, the touchscreen doesn't fully work. So there's a mini game where you can feed your partner Pokemon berries, where you can stroke them and stuff, perfectly fine. but you can't do anything else touchscreen. So I'm just sitting there on the tube. I can't press the
Oh, that's
flight
really
button
weird. The
with that.
menus.
Yeah, none of that works. I don't understand why. I was playing Oxenfree on Switch, and that's such a great port. You can move with it, with the touchscreen, everything. I'm just like, I hope that's patched in, but you never know with Nintendo that they introduced a whole new controller that won't use the touchscreen.
Well, I hate to be cynical. But that's probably why they didn't include the touchscreen controls, because that's probably the best way to play it.
Yeah.
And probably make this thing obsolete, right?
Yeah, probably true.
Oh, while I've got you here, do you mind if I ask you about gyms and whether they've been given a whole revamp?
Yeah, so there's a weird thing which I thought we kind of heard about before the game came out, where at the start of each gym, there's a little dude who just stands there by the side and goes, "Hello, this is the leader." They have this type of Pokemon. That they introduced conditions, so you can't challenge Brock, without having a grass Pokemon. One of the gym leaders will ask you if you have a cute Pokemon and stuff. One actually
is cute a type of Pokemon?
Just they have to think it's cute. And then the fourth or fifth gym, I went to challenge, and they were like, "Okay, you need to show me a Pokemon over level 45." Didn't have one. They're like, "Can't come back." So it creates a kind of an interesting type of meta game.
Sure.
And
nice little carrot on a stick.
Yeah. So sometimes it's super inane and stuff you've got anyway. Sometimes you go, "Oh, okay." But what was also interesting is, because the gym was always a bit of a spectacle in the old games, each gym has kind of... what's the fucking word? No. So because the gyms are a bit of a spectacle in the old game, they've really kind of amped this up, and they've, again, like the rest of the game, trying to make it feel like a lived-in world. There's like bleachers on the side, there's people sitting and watching.
Oh, cool, an audience.
Yeah.
Nice.
And so when you challenge Misty as well, for example, in her water gym, there's like divers on the side, and they dive into the water and come and swim at you. It's all more like
nice touch.
More anime-esque and cinematic, and every time you beat a gym leader, you and either Eevee or Pikachu stop, turn each other high five, and there's like a little cutscene talking to the person. Like, yeah, it's really cool.
And how are you performing in front of an audience? Because I know usually you're shaky.
Yeah. Well, again, I'm clutching the Pokeball, just helping. I'm just imagining Eevee's just here, watching, chilling.
Well, before we wrap up the video, is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Yeah, I think I've touched on this briefly, but despite all the cool changes that make the gameplay interesting, the best thing here is just the HD, the graphical grunt, the world. It's the first time Kanto feels like a living, breathing world. It's the amount of charm, the amount of moments where I just smile stupidly like an idiot, especially on the tube. It's great, people look at me. I can't really express it. Like there's all these cinematic touches which are brilliant. There's mini cutscenes. There's moments where your Eevee would just be a little symbol and you shake the controller and Eevee will interact with the world. One of your other Pokemon will find an item. Or you'll see just like a Machop just walking around lifting things. It's just so much charm. It feels like the anime. It feels like the world is actually a living, breathing Pokemon world. And that's the best thing about Pokemon Let's Go.
What a gorgeous note to end this video on. Let's end it there. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you want more of our comprehensive Pokemon Let's Go coverage, then read the articles. You can catch them all on the website. Aside from that, we've got incredibly deep wikis and incredibly passionate fans for you to hang out with and have a chat with. They're absolutely amazing, so go ahead and do that. That should keep you busy until our next video. Until then, Pokemon Let's Go home, Tom, because the day's finished.
It's long, yeah, it's late. Let's go.
Let's go.